Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at a Japanese budget friendly title that was part of the Simple 1500 series, that is volume number 78, known as the Zero Yon. Now I'll honestly admit that I didn't even know that this game existed. I'm only actually, to be honest, getting to notice and even experience a lot of these games that actually came out in Japan, because a lot of them I was never sure of, or I never even heard of them before. And I actually kind of just stumbled across this one as I was actually looking for different type of games. I was actually looking for different styles of racing games, because I know that in Japan the PlayStation actually has a plethora of unique kind of quirky racing games that are out there that pretty much nobody has ever heard of. And this was definitely one of those titles, so I just happened to stumble across it just actually recently, and when I seen it, I was intrigued. It definitely has kind of like a unique kind of look about it. It is a budget title. This is more on the likes of the budget range. This would be more of an affordable priced title that would have been released back in the day for people with relatively low budgets that wanted to get in on the game, and but it was also, these budget titles were also a really good way for developers to actually get in on the development scene on the PlayStation console back in the day. Now a lot of these titles wouldn't be as well polished or well put together compared to other mainstream titles on the system, but they definitely had something unique to offer. And from playing this here, it is actually kind of like it's the play style is actually based around a drag racing game. It is fairly simplistic in terms of what it's supposed to do, but the one thing that appealed to me straight away is that it did have a lot of really cool Japanese sports cars that we all remember and know and love from back in the day. You had Nissan Skylines, you had the Mazda RX-7s, the Nissan 300ZX or Fairlady, you had the Mitsubishi GTO, there was the Honda S2000. There was a lot of really cool cars in it, so that's what kind of drew me in, because I'll be honest, I'm a big fan. I love my cars as well, and I'm a sucker for just playing racing games, but I love PS1 racing games, so it was intriguing to actually find this. As you can see here from the video, that there is actually a lot of titles that are actually, or a lot of cars that are there that literally you can pick from. Now in order to get them, it does cost a lot of money. From the currency you can see they're very expensive, but in order to earn money, obviously to win races. But what I actually found as I was playing through this, now I can't speak the Japanese language, so I kind of have to find my way around it. It has actually a cool mini game like this here that's quite fun. So you actually literally have to stop the cars and shoot them while they're driving down the road. So you actually gain money from actually doing this here. So I actually thought that this was actually a quirky and fun kind of thing to actually have in the game. So this is one of the ways that you would actually generate money so that you could buy or upgrade your cars. So it was quite a cool type of thing. So you could definitely go back in and out of it a good number of times to be able to actually try and get as much money as you can. Now when you do go into it, you are timed. You've literally got like 30 seconds to try and destroy as many cars as you possibly can. But it is actually a pretty cool feature. But again, the game is simplistic in its nature. It is what it is. Like, it's a budget friendly title. There's not really an awful lot in it in terms of, like, apart from the mini game here and in the actual races themselves. It's pretty much just, it is what it is, but it's actually quite a fun title. I actually did play around with it for a little while, and it is actually decent enough. But again, because of the fact that it actually has a lot of cool looking cars in it, and the graphics are actually decent too, so that's what kind of definitely drew me in. But it's really nice to find a lot of these unique type of quirky titles on the PlayStation, because again, like I said, I'm only getting to experience a lot of these titles that came out in Japan only over recent months, and I'm amazed by the amount of games that's actually out there, and yet I haven't even barely even scratched the surface with what's actually there, because I know I played a lot of games like in the European region, and I loved a load of them. But there was always games that were in Japan that you used to see them in magazines and stuff like that back in the day when none of us really had the internet. So you would kind of get a glimpse of something, but you're like, oh, what was that? And that looked cool, but you knew rightly well you never got the chance to play it, and you probably never saw it again after that. So as time went on, more than likely you forgot. So it is interesting to actually be able to get the chance now to actually play them, because there is some quirky titles here. As you can see now here, with the race. It literally just is a drag strip, so all you're doing is just changing gears and so forth to try and get from one point to another. And it is actually quite a fun game. It doesn't, the races don't last too long. They literally only last between 10 to 15 seconds at most. And I did have to have a good few goes in this here. I couldn't win any races at all. You really do have to upgrade your car or upgrade to a better car to really stand a chance of actually being able to win races so that you can keep progressing. But that's pretty much the premise of the game. You just go in, earn as much money as you can, and just keep upgrading until you can get further along in the game. From what I have played of it though, when you're actually in the races, you can't really seem to move the cars around on the track. It's literally all you're doing is just flicking the button, whatever it is, to change the gears, and you're just literally changing through the gears, and you just have to time your gear changes for maximum effect to get the gear ratios right, so that you can, when you hit the gear at the right time, it'll give you that bit more extra speed and so forth. So it's just all about timing. But it is actually a fun little game, and it is actually worth trying out. If you if you haven't seen anything like this here, or if you haven't experienced this game and you are getting into playing these type of games yourself, this here might be something. If you're into drag racing at all, it's quick, it's simple, straight to the point. It's relatively short, but it is actually a fun little game. So it is something actually worth trying out and experiencing, at least even if you just play it just for a few casual goes, just to see what you think yourself. So I did actually have to have a few tries at this just to really get the hang of it, but eventually I did get the hang of actually winning a race. But again, it took quite a few tries. But I just like the graphical style of the game, even though it is very simplistic, but I do love that type of style of graphics on the PlayStation. Very arcadey kind of like look and vibe about it. There's just something really unique about the graphics and just that overall style of the 32-bit gaming era. That's what always drew me in, and even when I look back, for me it's still got that unique kind of vibe to it that really appeals, just not only to me, but I know to other people that are nostalgic about their games as well. So it definitely has something to offer. So I highly recommend, if you haven't seen this game, I would highly recommend that you go and check it out. Just have a bit of fun with it and just see what you think for yourself. You never know, you might be surprised, you might actually enjoy it. Because it is a quirky little game. Again, it's just simple, it is what it is, and yeah, it's definitely worth a go for sure. So I'd like to know your thoughts on this here game, if you've actually played it, or did you know anything about it from back in the day, and what are your experiences if you actually have played it. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, also hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future content, and also feel free to share the video, as I am going to be exploring a lot more games from this simple 1500 series of games, because I know that there was a lot of them released back in the day. I'm going to try and see if I can play as many of them as I possibly can and share them all with everyone watching the videos. So as always, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.